I wonder when the legislature tells agencies how to apply the law. Now, if you've been reading California bills, you're probably familiar with the fact that the legislature in California occasionally attempts to instruct the courts on how to interpret a statute, generally by using legislative intent language, making a finding or a declaration, something along those lines, with the hope and desire that the judicial branch will follow the stated direction. This also comes into play with executive branch agencies. These agencies, departments, boards, commissions, councils all get their authority by a grant of quasi legislative authority by the legislative branch of state government. And of course, this grant of authority occurs through a statute. And these statutes enacted by the legislature sometimes provide guidance to these state agencies regarding how the legislature wants these agencies of the executive branch to interpret or apply or enforce the laws that they have enacted. So we've seen some written examples from the 2021 legislative session. One read, notwithstanding section 11425.60 of the Government Code and section 409, for all purposes under this code, including the determination of benefits or obligations for employees and employers, the department shall be bound by the appeals board's decisions in Rubin Aldrete Ruiz versus the Employment Development Department and in Francisco Banalas versus the EDD, issued on December 17th, 2020. These decisions correctly interpret current law, and the department shall apply the appeals board's reasoning and interpretation in all appropriate cases. So in this example, the legislature obviously is making some explicit points to the EDD, the Employment Development Department, when the EDD is making certain determinations. And the legislature is telling the department that despite what other statutes may provide, EDD is bound by those decisions and has to follow specific appeals board decisions when applying the law. In addition, the legislature is explaining its belief that both of those cases were correctly decided, and so the department has to follow them. Another example reads as follows. Consistent with paragraph 2 of subdivision A of section 2226 of the Elections Code, and with the long-standing interpretation by state and local elections officials governing conflict or conduct of all mailed ballot elections, and also the Elections Code governing mail ballot precincts, nothing in this act is intended and shall not be construed to mean that a voter with an inactive voter registration status shall receive a vote by mail ballot for an election conducted in 2021. So in this example, the legislature is giving clear direction to the local elections officials regarding voters receiving a vote by mail ballot. Moreover, the legislature is citing several applicable statutes and even how these statutes have long been interpreted by elections officials. And therefore, the legislature wants to ensure that these elections code statutes continue to be interpreted in the same exact manner. So these are just two recent examples of how the legislature makes clear to executive branch agencies or even local governments on how the legislature expects the laws that it enacts to be interpreted or applied or enforced by either local agencies or executive branch state agencies.